Still counting down, but I see us. It's not on.
It's not on?
1 second.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. I am Stacy Roseman from Empowered by Adversity. I have a special guest today who I'm really excited to introduce you to. First, I'm just going to tell you a drop about me. I specialize in freedom from trauma. Why, you may ask? Personal experiences that have brought me here. Not only am I the survivor of a brutal attack, but I was hit by a car as a pedestrian, resulting in 39 major operations and a traumatic brain injury. I've healed myself completely. I am pain-free, medicine-free, happy and grateful as can be. I transform myself through the 4 pillars of healing: emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental. I have been studying for 35 years alternative medicine modalities, fitness, and trauma. I have numerous certifications. Anyway, I am so excited to bring her here, and her name is Roosa Alejandra. I'm going to introduce her, and here she is, Miss Beautiful Roosa.
Hi, hello everyone. Hello, Stacy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. However, I just want to let you know, please forgive the noise. There's a lot of construction around me, so if you hear that, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really loud over here. Okay, great. I think somebody's doing something out there. But anyhow, thank you for having me here. My name is Roosa Alejandra. I am a neuro-linguistic programming coach, and I consider myself to be a breakthrough coach. I help boss women, female bosses, break through procrastination, perfectionism, and self-sabotaging patterns. So I love everything that has to do with studying all of our subconscious patterns that are keeping us stuck from actually living the life that we deserve to live and taking the moves and making the moves that we need to make, right? And it all goes back to not knowing our power and not knowing what we're carrying in our bags. So that is what I love to do. So I'm very excited to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
You were a great dancer. She also specializes in dance and movement therapy. She was in fitness for a long time, and now she sees how integrating it with the neuro-linguistic, how do you say it?
Yeah, neuro-linguistic and neuroscience. Yeah, it's very effective, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, that's something that I love and I specialize in too, the happy dance therapy, which we were just talking about, just movement in general. It's not about even doing anything, not doing it great. It's just about moving your body, right?
Yes, because what happens when you're having movement, number one, is an expression. So it's not about if you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong. It's about moving the way you feel, and then once that comes out of you, then you'll start moving the way you want to feel. But just like everything, you cannot do what you don't feel, right? So, but in order for that, it has to be expressed first. It has to be brought to light so that you can actually make a shift according to what you see from that point on. So definitely movement, music, all of that is it's vibration, it's energy. So how can it not? It will definitely shift our states.
Yeah, it's because trauma, when trauma is learned and it gets into the cells of our body, it gets deep ingrained in the cells of our body. And what is learned needs to be unlearned and go back into neutral. So this is like a great way to be able to do that. And it's just about freeing and getting all that ickiness, all that gobbledygook that blockage, creates blockages, energy blockages in our body. It's about releasing that and letting that vibration flow smoothly, elevating us, finding true happiness and love from the inside, real, unconditional self-love.
Yes, and that is important. That key, what you just said, finding it from the inside. I was just with a client a little bit earlier, and she's like, I would like to feel joy, energy, and hope. And I said, which one is more important to you? She's like, well, I think joy, because without joy, I cannot do anything else. And I said, well, what if we shift the paradigm just a little bit, or your perspective just a little bit, and take you to energy first? I said, because at the end of the day, if your body is not feeling well, if you don't have the energy, even if somebody came through the door and try to bring you joy, you wouldn't even acknowledge it. You wouldn't even receive it because you internally feel like crap. So first we have to up your energy. And then from that point on, even if nobody walks through the door to bring you joy, your joy will be natural because you're already in that state. So always begin with the inner, always, definitely. I agree with you, my love.
Self-compassion too is very important with self-love and self-compassion. We have to give ourselves understanding. We have to give ourselves time out, in peace and love. I think meditation just, there's so many different forms of meditation and connecting with nature and art therapy and stuff. But just learning how to release, because the emotional and the physical are so connected, but so is the spiritual and the mental. To me, it's all 4 levels. That's why I've called the 4 pillars of healing, because I believe, from my experience, for me anyway, and I believe that all 4 areas have to be in balance to really heal completely. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree. Everything, I mean, we are supposed to be in wholeness, right? So everything has to be aligned. However, what I have found, especially a lot in the fitness industry, is that they are so focused on this thing called the mindset, right? And I think that is really driving people or steering people wrong. Not because mindset isn't great. Mindset is great, but depending on where you are in the healing journey, mindset can actually set you up for feeling more like a failure, for feeling more like you're not enough, because you are trying to convince yourself or something that you haven't even come to terms inside of you that you agree with. So you literally have to focus more on heart set. And that's something that, that's what I call my trainings, something in heart set, so that then after that, once you understand yourself, that you can actually start implanting new ways of thinking, new ways of speaking to yourself, new ways of walking. And now your body and your feeling would be in agreement with you. So if you, for whatever reason, you're feeling like you're in an endless battle, more than likely is because you're trying to control your subconscious with your mind, and your subconscious is not at mind level. Your subconscious is at an emotional level and at a past level. That happened way the heck long ago, and you're trying to control it with the present moment, and that is not going to happen. So going back to the introspection, going back to the inner first, definitely, I agree with everything. Mindset is a huge, beautiful tool, but you have to be ready for it, or it can definitely mess you up. Definitely.
It's a lot of deep soul searching. It's about living your truth. It's about connecting with your soul, with your spirit, really spending a lot of time in quiet and stillness. It's finding out who you really are, what your purpose and your passion in life is, to develop these senses. And it takes time, and it's not easy. It's hard, but it becomes much easier. We become much more resilient. Things in life, like I said to you a couple minutes ago about getting stuck in the lobster bowl, because people get stuck in their traumas, and it's like being in that lobster bowl and you can't get out. And it's reliving the same thing day after day, year after year, the same thought, the same emotions, the same experiences, because you're not changing. Getting out of that lobster bowl, yeah, life is full of a lot of challenges. It is, but we learn to go to one challenge, to the next challenge, to the next challenge, to the next challenge. We're thriving, right? We're surviving, we're thriving, and we're understanding. We're not stuck. We're growing.
Yes, and I mean, if I can give the example that I used yesterday on a video that I created, and I actually, I thought it went pretty well. I mean, if we could look at life, like when you went to a party, when you go to a party and you're dancing, you're not dancing to the same song the whole darn night, right? It would be super monotonous, super boring, and you'll be like, what's the point? I just want to go home, right? Well, life already knows that about you. So life is going to give you different things, and it's going to make changes. And it's not going to ask you what you want to listen to next. It's actually going to steer you to where you should go next, because you have levels, right? And everybody seems to think that when something happens to you, why me, God, why me? No, it's actually your knock on the door by life saying, okay, you're ready for your next level. So if you change that perspective and you become a little bit more adaptable and start flowing with life, then you'll be able to dance with it the exact same way you go when you go dance, when you go to a Latin club, or when you go to whatever type of club, the music is going to change, and you have to be able to change with the music and still enjoy the new song, enjoy the new beat. And it's the exact same way when you're dealing with life. Life is going to change. The only thing constant or consistent in this life is change. So if you haven't become adaptable, you're going to suffer a lot, because you're resisting something that is natural and that is completely out of your control. So definitely learn to become what's it called? A flow, in flow. Sorry.
I love change. I honor change. I welcome change. I find change exciting. It's an adventure. Our life is a journey. Make it an adventure. I love it. I don't know. I love challenges. I guess I've had so many of them, but I love them. They inspire me. They make me go to different levels, touch the tops of different mountains. We get to see how strong we are, who we are. We get to learn more about ourselves and go to the next level. Like you were just saying, we're multidimensional beings,
Yes, and the thing about it is that right there, the way you expressed it, that is exactly the way it should be done. Get curious. I'm like, oh, new challenge. What can I learn from this? Oh, God must think I'm a badass. Let's see how much of a badass I am, right? Because some people are like, why me? All these problems. Well, shit, you must be very capable, and somebody knows you're that capable, that you're ready for that next level. So definitely look at it from a child's perspective, like curiosity. Like if we remember back when we were children, no matter whether we had good experience or bad experience or a rough upbringing, we still had dreams. And if somebody gave us a Superman or a Wonder Woman cape, we would put it on, and nothing could convince us that we were not Superman or Wonder Woman, right? So we had that childlike energy and that curiosity to be willing to put ourselves in that persona and act it out. So it's the same thing with changes. It's like, okay, so you think I can do this, so let me step into it. Let me step into this power and see what it feels like to be this person that the universe thinks I'm ready to be. So let's do it, right? And just get curious.
Yes. So I went, I'm an actress. I went to acting school. I've studied. I was a model for a very long time. So one of the things that I know is really important is theater, is acting, is creating characters to release and to be somebody else, to learn, to experience. That is huge. And another thing, okay, so I've had 39 operations. Big deal. To me, it's like big deal. Yeah, they were major.
It is a big deal.
It is, but it's not to me. I mean, because, I guess I'm so used to it at this point, but I studied body mechanics, injury prevention, and I understand every part of the body. And each time I have a surgery, I do my prior workout. I do my visualization, my meditation for 3 months prior to the surgery. I see myself strong and healed. And I come out of that just like a flying saucer. I mean, it's incredible how quickly I heal. But then again, it's like that journey and that challenge is really exciting to me. I know what I'm going to have to go through, but I honor it and I welcome it. And then, also when you do things like that for yourself, no matter what it is, when we are going through different, I don't like to call them traumas, challenges, whatever it is, and we're learning about it, give ourselves, you have to celebrate. You celebrate the small rewards, that any type of rewarding situation, you have to celebrate. I think it's really important.
I know, and I absolutely agree. You don't know how many times when I had my dance fitness studios, people be like, you don't even know, look at you, everything you've accomplished. And I'm like, what are you talking about? To me, because once things become second nature to us, we stop appreciating. And I think that's why life does what it does to us, because we become so unappreciative of what we have that it's like, okay, let's give you something else. Let's see if you really are the badass that you think you are, right? Because I recall clearly, it's like, Rosa, you've done so much. Why don't you see it? And I'm like, I see it, but this is supposed to be a given. I mean, I'm great at what I do, so should I, it's almost like, why should I get happy for taking out the trash when it's supposed to be taken out? So it just becomes like, and you become so nonchalant with your own life. So we do forget to celebrate ourselves. But the funny thing here is that we're always looking for others to celebrate us. And if they don't, then we cap an attitude. So yeah, definitely, right? So definitely we have to go back to, like you said, self-compassion, self-love, self-awareness, and definitely giving ourselves our own little pats on the back. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if we're here, like you and I, we're here today. We're survivors, like you said, but more than that, we're thriving. Because we're still here. And if you're listening to this, you're watching this, you're here. So right now you are ready to deserve a freaking pat on the back by yourself, right?
That's right. And another thing is an attitude of gratitude, living in a state of gratitude. Like my home is peace, love, happiness, compassion, empathy, kindness, joy, bliss, and gratitude. I live in a state of gratitude 24/7, even when the challenging times happen, and the universe loves gratitude. You want to manifest? live in a state of gratitude. The universe loves gratitude. But you know what? We know that these challenges are going to happen. So just take it, let it be, let it, sit with it, honor it, and release it. It takes time. And, you have to learn the different tools in order to be able to do this. But you can do it. We've done it. A lot of people have done it. And I'm telling you, the universe loves gratitude. If you want to start manifesting, have gratitude and be grateful for everything.
Yes, I think my very first experience with gratitude was one day I decided to, and it was the time that I was in a lot of pain. So it was probably about maybe 9.5 years ago. But my very first experience with gratitude is I sat up and I looked at my toes and I wiggled them, and I was like, "Thank you, toes." Like literally, I went through my entire body, thanking every single limb, bone, every single mole, every piece of cellulite, everything. And I was like, I love you. Because at the end of the day, I treated you this way. Unfortunately, I put myself in situations where I put you, I created this, and you're still here, and you're still helping me get up, and you're still helping me walk, and you're still helping me. It's like, damn, like my body is badass. So thank you so much. And I think that day that I was able to thank every finger, every toe, every lash, that's the day I fell in love with myself, because I realized how much my body does for me, and how little sometimes I do for it. And when you fall in love with yourself like that, and you become grateful for yourself like that, you will start doing more things for yourself like that. And that's something that I always teach my ladies. They're like, well, how can I fall in love with me if I don't like my rolls, or if I don't like my double chin, or if I don't like this? And I'm like, let me just ask you this question instead. When was the last time you actually helped somebody you didn't like? So if you're not going to help somebody that you don't like, and every time you get in front of that mirror, you attack yourself, how do you think you're going to be able to get rid of that roll or that double chin or anything that you have? First, you have to fall in love with it and have compassion for it in order for you to be able to help it, because you're going to want to help it, because you'll see the value in it. And that shifts a lot of perspective too. So definitely.
The emotional and the physical is so connected. A lot of times, like people who are having severe back problems, they're like, I hate my back. I'm so mad at my back. And you know what? It needs love. If you really give it, relax and sit down, what your back really needs is love. Your back has been there your entire life. So you're having a rough time right now. And a lot of times it's really just an emotion, some kind of trauma that you've gone through years and years ago that's still stuck in your body. But yeah, I mean, just to love your bed when you wake up in the morning and thank your bed for a good night's sleep.
Yes. And it's so true what you just said. Our bodies, to me, I feel like my body is like a little child. If I feel some kind of pain, some kind of ickiness, it's because it needs attention. It's kind of like, hey, something's happening,
Right.
So that's what it is. But again, I'm always going to like revert back to what you said at the beginning. It's called introspection. If you don't know yourself, you will not understand those signals. You will not be aware of them, but just the signals of what you're supposed to do now, what you're supposed to do next, how you're supposed to do your self-care, they're all right there, because you already know. It's just, are you listening to yourself? Do you trust yourself? Do you spend time with yourself to really get to that point?
Right. And okay, so our thoughts, our beliefs, our dialogue create our personal reality, or our personality ultimately. And this is really important, when we're having self-talk, and negative self-talk is going to create more negativity. So just awareness alone, awareness of your body. If you scan your body like every half hour, just at the beginning to get used to this, so what, it might be a little annoying, but you know what? It's going to take you really far. Scan your thoughts, be aware of what you're thinking, because you can change your thoughts at any moment. We have a choice, and we can think whatever we want. We could be negative about something, but I'm going to tell you something. You can turn any negative into a positive, any negative.
You can, but you need a lot of awareness, because you can turn it into a positive right now and then fall right back into it in 5 minutes. So you need a lot of awareness, most definitely. Yes.
Yeah, I think awareness is probably number one.
Yes, I agree.
For change, and to free yourself from fear, you have to live your truth.
Yeah, awareness is great. but the courage too, the
Oh,
courage to be
yeah.
consistent. Oh my goodness, because the work that you've done, the work that I've done, the work that we do with our clients, it's not easy for them. You're actually, I literally physically put them in front of a mirror.
Mhm.
And what drives me up the wall, that I know I shouldn't say it this way, but this is my truth. It drives me up the wall, is that a woman is afraid of looking at herself in the mirror. How the hell, how much trauma, generational trauma, are we carrying that we can't even stand to look at ourselves in the mirror unless we're getting ready for somebody else?
I
Like,
like
how the
mirroring.
hell?
I like mirroring a lot too. I like that
Yes.
technique. I think it's great. And like I can't remember what her name is right now. But anyway, to write on your mirror, I love this. I'll remember what her name is. I am enough. Write on your mirror in red lipstick. I had taken her course at Mind Valley, and I love that she wrote that. I am enough. I am enough. It's so important to know that you are, your confidence in your posture. You can see your confidence.
Yep.
Not only that, though, your posture it says so much about other things, and it's going to affect your neck, your back, when your shoulders are, rounded. So like learning how to sit properly in a seat, like in a car, in an airplane, posture, learning how to stand properly and walk properly. Not only is it going to say so much about you, and your confidence, but it's also going to help your body and the awareness, everything in healing, in the whole healing process.
But I'm gonna be honest here. I have a huge badunk, and sitting back is not easy. That hurts my back, so I will just take out the badunk a little more.
Well, then you know what you do now. You have a great buttocks. I love buttocks. If you sit up straight
Yeah,
and
exactly. I have to be completely straight. I can't chill to the back. I have to sit completely straight. But it's part of the awareness, right? I know what
yeah,
works with my body and what doesn't. But it's part. But definitely, body language is going to get you far, or is going to keep you from what you want because of the way you're showing up. Most definitely.
yeah, and then like I'm lifting the pelvic floor, like doing Kegels. If people don't know what that is, it feels like if you have to go to the bathroom and you're squeezing like the inside of your vagina or your anus, or men, you're squeezing like if you're going into the water and it's a little cold, what it feels like. So you're lifting that up, and then you're stucking your belly button to your back, and you're sitting up straight, and you put your shoulders back and down. So I put these on these little videos on YouTube to show how to do it. But that's something I'm sure you're aware of, because you were a dance teacher and you're a dancer. You're a professional dancer, as far as I'm concerned. You're a great dancer.
Thank you. Well, yeah. I mean, and also understanding that every part of your movement comes from your core. So always strengthening the core. Without the core, that's why a dancer is able to shift from one side to the other and have these intricate moves, because the core is the one that's going to pull them. If the dancer doesn't have a strong core, the quick shift is not going to happen. And I know this now because since I lost my core when I lost my health, I'm able to see that dancing to me, even though I still love it and I can still move, I cannot easily pick up intricate stuff anymore. But it's not because my mind has gone, it's because my core has gone and my body's not reacting as fast. And that is the exact same way your subconscious will work once you practice awareness. And once you practice that mirror, that muscle, that core muscle, will start being built. And next time you have a bad thought or negative thought or whatever you want to call it, you will be able to remember and bring it right back and just get back in line. So it works really good.
And then at the same time, breath is really important, because when we're working on the core and we're squeezing it, we need to understand the opposite. So when we're breathing, like in our nose, there's so many different types of breath work, one nostril breath work, just breathing in and out of your nose, breathing in your nose, out of your mouth. But we want to breathe into our diaphragm. So you have to be able to release that. So you have to let these muscles learn how to do these different things. Because if we're breathing shallow into our chest and we're having anxiety and depression and panic attacks, it's not going to get better. So we have to learn how to breathe properly and how to relax our body and our heart, our nervous system, our soul, and everything, and let the energy flow and raise your vibration.
Yeah, I love it. I think that if anybody is listening right now and is trying to make a shift, like the one that you're offering or the ones that we're offering here, it would be that. I think that would be the first thing. If you can just sit with yourself for 5 minutes and breathe, and just sit with yourself. I think that would be a magical first step, and actually be conscious of you're breathing in and you're breathing out the whole 5 minutes. And don't be thinking, is it 5 minutes yet? Set an alarm. That way you're not worried about the time, but just be conscious of, if you can accomplish those 5 minutes and do it like for 7 days straight, then you can move into the mirror, or you can move into another step, right? Because it's really not about, in order to change my life, I have to change my thoughts. Not really. In order to change your life, you have to figure out what the heck are you doing with your life that's not working. And for you to figure it out, you have to become aware first. So, and then, it's kind of like a lot of people that I see, they want to change their life. They're desperate and they start punching, but they're punching in the dark. Awareness is turning on the freaking light so that you can see where the heck you're punching. That's all it is. And with that, you just have to be willing to put the time in. That's all.
So you can't be breathing and thinking about something else. When you're focusing on your breath work, you cannot be thinking about whatever. If you were thinking about a negative thought and you just go and focus on your breathing, you're going to lose that whole negative thought that's in your body that makes you so tight and angry and hostile and, and angry and just frustrated and, all those negative feelings. You can't. So it's a great way to start to release all that.
Sorry, I mute myself because, like I said, I have a lot of trucks, over here. So I mute myself and then I forget to unmute myself. Sorry. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, I can't hear anything from there. Yeah, wow, you are amazing. I mean, this is like a great conversation. It's one of my most favorite conversations that I've ever had with somebody because we're on such the same wavelength.
Yes, and I think part of it is because we're not only do something similar, but we've been through, that physical pain, that anguish that can actually cause mental pain, emotional pain. It's crazy. So we've had to heal ourselves. So we've had to learn how to heal ourselves. So, and I think that makes us very compassionate people, but also very realistic people. And and if we're over here, sharing this with you is because this shit works. We're not kidding. It works.
Yeah, okay, so I have 5 neck fusions and I have 5 cervical and I have 5 lumbar. So the thoracic area, which is from the waist like to the neck, I don't have any fusions. And I don't have any pain in my neck or my back. I have a mild amount because of something that I dealt with recently because I had to jump out. I can't go in there. Okay. But what I wanted to say was because of that area not having any fusions, I am able to twist my body and in ways that like I'm more flexible than most people I know, even though you have the fusions and you have knee surgeries or whatever it is. Flexibility is really, really important, and flexibility will keep you young. So learning how to stretch properly and understanding your body is really important, and also for releasing blockages in your body.
But I'm going to tell you something. And I can actually relate with this. So this is amazing. The message that you just said is amazing because you're talking about flexibility is important even for your healing, no matter what's going on, no matter the fusions. But this is exactly how that mindset, excuse my language, but how the mindset fuckery happens, right? You're fused. So you will not be able to move from this vertebrae to this vertebrae ever again. You're fused, so now so that's a programming that's been set on you. When you go and ask a doctor or whatever, they're programming you because you have the surgery. This is what you can expect, and from this you cannot expect anything else. It's really up to us to open up, to not take that programming in and look for something else. I have not heard you say, shoot, I had this done, so I shouldn't be able to do this. You haven't even said that. You simply said, I had this done and I'm more flexible because flexibility is important. It's like, and I just wanted to really highlight what you just said so that people can understand how and why manifesting happens right there. That's a prime example. You're not taking all of the negative comments that I'm sure you've heard because everything that has happened to you, and you have not taken them and made them yours. You've created your own, and you've decided, nope, this is my life, these are my rules of engagement, and this is how I operate, and because this is my body, it's going to do whatever I say it's going to do, not whatever everybody else said it's going to do. So I really wanted to highlight that. You are freaking amazing, and that is exactly how this works.
Sorry, y'all. I just want to hear for exactly what you said today. I was at my shoulder doctor today. I had my shoulder reconstructed for the 3rd time 3 months ago, and they had to put an Achilles tendon cadaver in my back because the rotator cuff muscles were shredded, and they could not repair them. So they put this Achilles tendon in, and they connect it to the lower trapezius muscle, to the humerus bone, which is a bone that goes into the arm, it creates the same pull. But the only thing I can't do, I could do everything. I mean, I could do like everything. It's like crazy things. The only thing I can't do yet is the rotation out on this arm completely. And he's saying to me, Stacey, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to get that. I'm like, who are you talking to?
Right, exactly.
Of course I'm going to get it back. It's just, it's a matter of time.
Right.
There is no not going to happen. Of course it's going to happen.
Listen, when my son was 4, he was pushed off of a slide, and it was one of the slides that are tubular, so they're enclosed. And it seems, from what I hear, it seems like he was rolling, and then when he landed on wood chips. He completely destroyed his elbow, completely. He needed reconstruction. He needed these huge, long screws and everything. They told me, your son is never going to recuperate his mobility. If he recuperates an extension to maybe 30% is going to be the most, like as far as an extension. His 2 fingers, the last 2 fingers were completely shrunk because they had to cut the nerve to retire, right? So tell me why, other than my uncle would do a lot of work with him because I was always at work, he would do a lot of work with him. And these 2 fingers were always cold. They were super cold. Tell me why one day I was fighting with the ex-boyfriend, and he came and knocked on the door, and he freaked me out, and he was like, open the door. And I'm like, I don't want to open. And my son was tiny, right? And of course I was way younger. And so he goes around, I go into the room and hide in the room like if the guy was going to come in or something. And he goes around to the room and he knocks on the door, and my son gets freaked out because this dude is getting mad and I'm yelling back. And my son gets freaked out and starts crying, and I'm like, don't cry. And I said, come here. And I pulled the bad arm, and he went, he completely cracked. Tell me why after that day my son has full function of his arm. His fingers are completely straight. Yeah, his fingers are completely straight and they're warm, just like the rest of his hand. So I'm like, I thought I broke. Released. Huh?
I wonder what you released. Maybe scar tissue or something, adhesions. What do you think you released?
I have no idea. And up to date, I took him to get checked, and all the doctor said was like, wow, I've never seen this happen. He's like, there is nothing wrong with him. They did an x-ray, they did everything. I mean, 100% function of his elbow and in his fingers, everything. So like you said, who you think you're talking to? Everything's possible, right? There is a God, there is, the healing methods, there is our mind. So we can.
You are a healer though, too. You are a huge healer. So maybe you just did it.
Yeah, I got scared. I'm like, I'm sorry, because he was crying. But after that, it was like total magic. Like nothing happened. The only thing he has is a big old scar. That's it.
But those are war wounds. Those are courage scars. That builds character. I don't look at them as negative either. I look at them as positive.
Yes, no, absolutely. He earned his stripe.
Yes, he did. He's a warrior.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we're going to do another webinar. We're going to do a podcast on Clubhouse together on the 30th, right?
Yes.
What time?
Yes. This time I get to have you. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So 7:30 p.m. Central Time. If you look up the Woman Up Club, Woman Up is one word. That's where we're going to be on June 30th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time.
Rosa, tell them where they can contact you, how they can get in touch with you.
Beautiful. If you go to Instagram, you just look for Breakthrough Badass. See, I love myself. Breakthrough Badass. And you can find anything and everything about me. Other than that, you can go to the womanup accelerator.com. Just the way it sounds, womanup accelerator.com. So everything I do, like I said, is to help women woman up. And what that means to me is help you take responsibility for your life. I can give you the tools, but if you don't use them, that's your loss, right? You have to use them.
Rosa?
Yes.
Elon wants to know why, she's wondering why you called your book The Bitch Protocol.
Oh, I love that question. Okay, so hang on, because I have a client, but she just told me she's going to be about 10 minutes late, so we're good.
Okay.
So, well, I've always been very outspoken. I've always been very assertive, and even since I was little, right? And I've always been very rejected for that. So I grew up thinking I was a monster. I've been told, you're bitter or you're angry, like the angry Black woman. That's the way my family, my friends would see me, like just because I had a voice. And I wrote books, with other authors. They invited me to be in their books. And that's actually part of my healing journey, reading my own trash, right? Like I said, you have to get it out first so you can become aware. And when I read those two books, I was in so much shock of how much of a victim I was. But then I realized the reason why I was a victim is because I had taken on everything that all of my victimizers, and I accepted that I was this monster, that I was this bitch, that I was all of this stuff, and I took it upon me, and that made me shrink, because I didn't want to be that person, right? And something was wrong with me. After reading what I had written in those two previous books, something happened within me. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I am a bitch. I am beautiful. I'm intelligent. I'm talented. I'm confident. I'm happy. So you're right. I'm a bitch, and I am the best bitch there can be. So that is why I wrote the book, The Bitch Protocol, a woman's guide to not giving AF, because that's the day I gave myself permission to be everything I am. And I created a shift in the perspective I had of that word, and I owned it and made it my own. So I invite other women to do the same thing, not because I'm inviting women to say, oh, I'm a bitch. I'm just inviting you to understand that whatever labels other people put on you, you don't have to accept. And if you decide to accept them, you have to make them yours and make them empower you. Whatever perspectives that are coming in from others are none of your freaking business. You are your business. What are you going to do with yourself? That is the most important part. So this book is actually a workbook. So there is a lot of work that you can do in there for your own self-healing. And you get to know all my dirty laundry, because I put all of my dirty laundry up in there too.
You're such a gift to the universe, and I'm so grateful that you were on today. And I know that you have to go for your meeting, but I just want to say, join my Facebook group, Happy Healers. I'm very excited to see you guys on Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, YouTube, and everywhere else. And Rosa, I love you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great, and I pray to God that everybody that listened got some gems out of this today. Thank you so much for your time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.